Tatum will be defended by Larson, the second-year pro out of Arizona. Brown got the defender off his feet, hangs in the lane, and gets the first points for the Celtics. Brown with a jab step. Wiggins an excellent defender. Jaylen Brown drills the triple. He's got all 7 for Boston.
Larson will attack, to your point about him. Second-year player, but he's older. He's aggressive. There's physicality to him.
Tatum drills the step-back 3. Miami is 6 of 9. Boston is 6 of 7 from the floor. Brown working on Mitchell, spins on him again down the lane, and another reverse layup for Jaylen Brown, who's got 13. Loose ball, Jaquez saves it, tipped by Shireman. Being chased by Smith behind the back, and a behind the back jam.
These teams are combined 13, 14 for 20 from 3.
Oh, Jaylen Brown, how did he get to the corner off the bounce? Tatum pull up 3. That one's good. They've made 12 threes in 13 minutes. 11 of those threes came in the first, the most ever by a Miami opponent. Tatum catching at the elbow and knocks down the jumper over Mitchell. 2 against Toronto and 1 against Atlanta. Trying to get to 8 in the standings as Tatum buries a triple.
Yep, they're in the zone for the second maybe time in this half, and right away, look at the Celtics get the ball to the middle of the zone, and then would that go to 21 depending on how often Tatum closes at the 5? I just think the reason everybody thinks the Celtics are dangerous is you have 2 now elite guys. You're spaced. It's 5 out, create an advantage, and then get a shot.
Brown rises up, drains a three-pointer, 29 for Jaylen Brown. And now we see a three-pointer. Brown draws the contact, count the basket, and 1, and then he screams. He's a guy that has the demeanor to coach at this level.
Yes.
But chose to stay at Gonzaga as Tatum gets at the ball. He's got 17 points.
You did not play for a full year. It will take a little bit of time.
And that's all it took was a little bit of time, because he's playing like that now as Jaylen Brown is up to 34. Boston scored 53 in the first quarter. They hit 11 threes. Miami on the third. Hauser with a couple of jumpers here in the fourth. Tatum around the Queta screen, fires, and his 3 is good. Jason Tatum stretches the lead back to 16. So potentially a return before the season ends. Brown with a rebound, hesitates, goes up, and scores off the window. Brown driving, puts on the brakes, falls away, hits it. Jaylen Brown with a 40-point night. Brown looking for more. Sidestep 3. Another one for Jaylen Brown. That was tough. He's got 43.
When a new calendar turns over, our brains immediately start hunting for patterns. We're psychologically wired to hate the vacuum of a blank slate, and we'll grab onto the first piece of data we see to fill it. Take the first week of April 2026. The Miami Marlins, a team that finished the previous season under 500, suddenly erupted to a 5-1 start, boasting the best team batting average in the major leagues. Up in Toronto, the Blue Jays' starting rotation opened their campaign by striking out 50 Oakland Athletics batters across 3 games, setting an all-time modern MLB record. And back down in Miami, the visiting Boston Celtics dropped a franchise record 11 three-pointers in a single quarter. Bombarded with these statistical anomalies in the early days of a season, the human mind struggles to process the noise. We trick ourselves into believing that these temporary spikes represent the permanent new reality. But the limits of early data aren't confined to the sports page. At the exact same time the Marlins were surging, a massive 4-alarm warehouse fire broke out nearby in Miami Gardens. Inside the 6-story building sat thousands of highly combustible, random items, everything from synthetic artificial turf to the propane tanks of parked food trucks. With the roof collapsed over that chaotic mix of fuel, the fire chief warned the public that the blaze would burn unpredictably for days. Whether we are watching a warehouse explode or a baseball team catch sudden fire, extreme early variance pushes us into a state of cognitive panic. We confuse immediate noise with permanent momentum. Statisticians have a name for this trap. It's called the law of small numbers, a cognitive bias where we mistakenly assume that a tiny sample of data accurately reflects the underlying truth of a much larger population. In a full 162-game season, those 6 games make up less than 4% of the schedule. Within those first 6 blocks, the trend line spikes wildly. But as the sample size expands, that chaotic spike is absorbed, flattening out across the remaining 156 games. The Blue Jays' 50 strikeouts operate on the exact same illusion. A specific set of pitching matchups against a single opponent in a tight 3-game window creates a temporary statistical extreme that simply cannot scale. What appears to be a historic breakout or a catastrophic collapse in April is very often mathematical noise, waiting to be neutralized by the gravitational pull of a larger sample size. When faced with this lack of control, the human brain fights back by inventing rituals. Consider the 1986 Toronto Blue Jays and the sudden slump of their leadoff hitter, Damaso Garcia. On May 14th, Garcia went 0 for 4 at the plate and committed a brutal 8th-inning error that directly handed the Oakland Athletics a victory. His reaction to this statistical noise was extreme. Following the loss, Garcia took his uniform and cap into the visitors' showers, doused them in alcohol, and literally set them on fire. The punchline to this unhinged ritual is that it actually worked. From that game onward, Garcia went on an absolute tear, hitting .296 and collecting 101 hits over the remainder of the season. Did the act of burning polyester and cotton cause that hot streak, or was a career .283 hitter mathematically inevitable to start hitting again? The answer lies in regression to the mean, the statistical principle dictating that extreme outliers will naturally drift back toward their true average over time, regardless of whether a uniform is set ablaze. We eagerly invent rituals and narratives to feel in control of mathematical chaos. We impose order on random events at the plate, exactly as we invent sweeping narratives for a meaningless 5-1 start to a baseball season. When we overlap the statistical anomalies of the baseball diamond with the unpredictable physical reality of the burning Miami warehouse, a clear picture emerges. The thousands of invisible variables feeding a sports streak, the specific sequence of pitches, the weather, sheer luck, are functionally identical to the chaotic physical variables fueling that blaze, from the synthetic turf to the shifting winds. Both a hot streak and a 4-alarm fire represent an extreme initial spike in variance. They are violent events that simply cannot be accurately evaluated while they are still burning hot. The shock of week 1 is compelling, but the long-term reality takes time to build. The true extent of the fire's damage and the true identity of those 2026 Marlins or Blue Jays will not exist until the timeline actually runs its course. Early data lies. In a world desperate for immediate answers and instant narratives, our greatest analytical superpower is the discipline to wait for the sample size to grow and the patience to let the smoke clear.